Hey, welcome back to the shop, and today we're working on these boat exhausts. These were built here in 2016. These were for a friend's boat, and the reason we had to build them is because he put 2 Cummins diesel engines into this huge boat, and this was the only solution for the exhaust. So this is a 5-inch pipe, and on the inside of it is a 4-inch pipe, and this water inlet feeds that water jacket. And then at the very end, they come out through these holes, and it goes into a silicone coupler and it exits the boat at that point. This side of the pipe sits on 2 pedestals, so it's supported, and that makes it rigid. So when the engines move, what's happening is it's breaking these V-bands off. And when that breaks out in the middle, wherever you are in the water, these turbos just belch out black smoke and fill the white engine bay with, hard to clean soot. So the plan here is that we're going to put a flex joint right here, seal off the ends. We're going to jump the water across with these tubes here, just like that one's in there. So now we got to cut these puppies. I'll make these about 2 inches for the silicone hose to jump up onto. So what I need to do here is, these are obviously not lined up to be 90 degrees from each other like that. So I need to get them in alignment like this. And I also need to radius them like this to exaggerate to fit over the radius of this pipe so they're sitting without doing this. I'm going to trim these both up with the angle grinder. Okay, so I'll call that one good. So here's what I'm doing, just to give you the view. Now that has a slight radius shape to it. And now it fits nice and flush around the outside, and it's also parallel with the pipe. That was a success. Now we can mark them and drill them. Okay, this might be a little bit hard to understand until you see the inside of this. It'll make a ton of sense once you do. The inside pipe in here is 4 inches, so there's a 1/2 inch clearance in a perfect world on all 4 sides of the pipe. I know that's not how it is. It's kind of everywhere. I'm not exactly sure where it landed everywhere, so if I was to use a typical hole saw like this pilot drill would penetrate through to the 4-inch tube, and we can't have that because that'll let water through earlier than it should be. So I could technically weld the hole up, but I just think that's more of a hack way to do it. So what I'm thinking is we'll set these up in the milling machine, and because of the rigidity of the milling machine, I won't need to use this centered pilot. This is somewhat rigid enough to do it on its own. Just kind of take my time and do it slow. So I can just pull this out, and we can do it without a drill. So yeah, let's go over the milling machine. We'll try to figure out how to get these set up in some kind of manner, and then we'll cut some holes. It's one of those things where you're not sure if you're making the right decision by doing all this setup, but in the end, it almost seems never wrong to go through the effort. So we just put 4 holes, 1.5 inches into this pipe, and we did not damage the inner pipe, which is great. Looks awesome. So now we'll take this back over and we can get ready to weld it together. All right, now that we have put in all 4 holes without puncturing the inside 4-inch tube, we are ready to get these elbows on here, tacked up, and ready to purge the tube with gas and weld it up. Throughout this whole process, I'm being as careful as possible to keep this cutting oil and just grime in general off of this because we're TIG welding this, and for the most part, anything you TIG weld should be surgically clean. Okay, so now I need to get these set up for purging. So these are tacked in place. We're going to send gas through the inside of the water jacket of this tube, argon, and that will allow us, because this is thin wall stainless, as I'm welding, it will be glowing red and penetrating through the back side. Instead of sugaring, it will form a nice weld. On stainless steel, you can only get weld on both sides if you put gas on the backside, otherwise it will oxidize. I'm going to seal off every hole, except this one I'm going to use to send the gas in. Gas is going to fill this entire tube, even up to here, and then it's going to exit at that end, in which I'm going to also manipulate so it can keep the pipe full of gas rather than just letting it leak off and only be like halfway up the pipe or something like that. We're welding at the top of the pipe, so it's going to be a perfect purge. The gas makes its way down here, and I have all of these holes sealed off, except for one at the very top, and it's got just a piece of emery, which kind of diffuses gas and lets it flow out nicely. So we'll give this a couple minutes to purge. I'm purging it at 20 CFM right now. And right before we start to weld, I will bring the gas down to roughly 10 CFH. Okay, so what I'm using to weld this is a TIG welding machine, of course, 100% argon gas. This is 304 material, and for this I'm using 309 just because I like it. All right, that's one done. Welds are done.
Yes.
Our tape survived. Very happy about that. When it heats up and burns, it leaves a super sticky residue on there. Now we do the other one. I'm not going to tack both of them together because it was kind of a pain in the butt to weld around them last time, so I'll do the one that was harder to weld around first. Beautiful. Tube inside of a tube. So this kind of explains the challenge of this job here is that, like I said earlier, I wasn't exactly sure where this inside 4-inch tube was inside of this 5-inch tube. So this isn't going to move very easily, and we're just going to deal with it where it is in place. So I'm going to make some plates that kind of match this crescent moon shape, and we'll set those inside, weld up the 4-inch pipe, and then weld up the 5-inch pipe so this coolant chamber is completely sealed away. Yeah, this one's pretty interesting. There's definitely some forces built up inside. You can see that the inner 4-inch tube has actually come out over 1/8 of an inch. It's wild. Thanks for checking out our video. If you like them, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up. And we upload every Friday, so come on by every Friday and check it out. Thanks so much.